Hello everyone, and welcome tonight to the Healer's Journey. Tonight we are focusing on a topic of balance, and I ask you the question, are you in balance? And as we go through this webinar tonight, I would like you to maybe jot a few notes if you have some, and ask some questions at the end. There will be some time for that. I'm Rosemary, and I'm your host tonight. And this is my Gracie. Gracie is the one who tries to keep me in balance when I'm at the computer too long. She will remind me that it's time to play, or time to eat, or time to do anything besides sit there. So she's my balance coordinator among other jobs that she has. So I'm grateful for Gracie. And of course, we always start out with our proclamation. Rather than a disclaimer, we like to proclaim that the information, thoughts, and ideas presented here honor your intentions to empower you with natural choices that support personal well-being. Conveyed with compassion, truth, and openness, our intention is to help you see beyond the filters of disclaimers which tend to support a one-sided approach to the health industry. We also proclaim that we are whole, vibrant beings in physical form and maintain sovereignty to nourish, support, and empower our lives with divine gifts and a natural ability to heal. The whole focus of the healer's journey is not to learn the lessons that we need to go out and heal the world. I think if you've been following the webinars long enough, you know that that's not what we do. Sometimes things like that happen, of course, but we focus on the idea of self-healing, working on yourself, making sure that you are in alignment with what you need. And what happens if you work on yourself is that everything falls into alignment with that. So you are going out there and healing the world, but you're doing it because you are better. You are a more of a vision of light. You're a leader for the world, and you are a healer. So that's what this is all about. So in our topic of balance, I like to ask, what is balance? And of course, I had to go look it up. What does the dictionary say balance is? And it says that balance is a feeling or sensation of equality. It can be evenness. Something that is in correct proportions is balanced. And balance can also be steadiness. And of course, we know that these feelings of equality or evenness and proportions and steadiness very rarely happen, right? The world isn't so balanced in that definition. So we're going to look a little deeper into what balance is. Because what really happens is usually not balance. We have to look at what is not balance then. Imbalance is what we come up with. Imbalance, something that is off balance. But I like to let you know how I feel about this. Imbalance to me is a gift. Imbalance is a gift. Now why? Because so many people who are wanting to come to me for a session or receive some healing work or some counseling of some kind, they're feeling off balance. They want to get back in balance. And I'm wondering, what does balance mean to you? What does it mean to them? And what we find is that there's an imbalance they're experiencing that is a little more than they expected, maybe a little more than they want to handle, maybe something that feels uncomfortable to that degree, and they want to fix it. They want to get it fixed right away. And so I'm going to say, well, maybe imbalance isn't so bad. Let's look at imbalance as a gift. I experienced imbalance last week and wrote a blog article about this, saying that imbalance I was feeling was that I went from really busy, really focused on writing curriculum, amazingly productive, every moment taken with handling all the ins and outs of getting something written, making sure things worked properly, had all of the ingredients in, you might say, for the recipe we were creating. And when it was done, I felt empty. And it was very uncomfortable for me to feel empty. What happened as a result of that was that I didn't try to fill it up. I didn't try to get busy again. I didn't try to correct an imbalance that I was feeling, because it wasn't very comfortable to feel that void, to feel that discomfort. And what happened was pretty interesting to me. I got to experience a different side of balance. I got to experience rest. I got to experience saying no. I got to experience a void where it was okay to be without. It was okay to be not busy, which was an unusual experience for me. So for you A-type personalities who are busy all the time, you might relate to what I'm talking about. So let's talk about imbalance as a gift. I like to say that imbalance is a gift because it increases our awareness. I didn't realize how busy I was until I wasn't busy. And I then realized that, wow, maybe I was too busy. Maybe I was putting too much energy into something that actually created some stress in my life. I had to be aware of that. And then I became aware of the opposite, which was, oh my gosh, I've got this amazing amount of free time. How does that feel? And like I said, it didn't feel very comfortable, but it increased my awareness. I was grateful for that. Imbalance allows us to experience new feelings. And when we experience new feelings, we're able to grow. We're able to make changes. And now, as a result of that imbalance that I experienced, I'm noticing that there are new things that I want to incorporate into my life to not make me busy, but to create more balance in an energetic kind of way. Imbalance is also a gift because it makes us rest. It makes us heal. We can take the time then to detoxify and to cleanse. We can release things. We can let go of things that are no longer serving us. We can ultimately begin a process that we weren't able to do when we were imbalanced with too much going on, perhaps. And I'm just using that as an example, but there are many examples of how we experience imbalances in our life. Another way an imbalance is a gift is that it can sharpen our skills and techniques. If you find that, just say, for example, you're a chef and you are making a new recipe, and you find that the new recipe that you want to make requires you to know a particular skill or technique. Maybe it's making that phyllo dough that is thin layers. And how do you do something like that, right? Well, if you didn't know it, you would acquire it. You would learn the skills. You would learn the techniques, so you would be able to move forward depending upon what your purpose is. So imbalance can lead you to sharpen your skills and techniques, and maybe even learn new skills, not just sharpen the ones you have, but learn new ones. Imbalance also helps us go beyond our perceived limitations. we might find that if we feel balanced all the time, we're comfortable. Where do people want to go when they're comfortable? Nowhere, right? They're comfortable. It's only discomfort that motivates people to do something. If you're comfortable, it's like, okay, things are great. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to change a thing. I'm just going to be good. I'm going to be comfortable. But imbalance here is a gift in this case, because if you're uncomfortable, if you're not balanced, you might discover that when you were balanced, you actually had a limited world, your own little world that was okay for you. It was comfortable. Now you get to go beyond that. So there are no more limitations when you are experiencing imbalance as a gift. Does that all make sense? I hope so. Good. Let's talk about some natural balances in the world, physical and emotional especially. And with a biology background that I have, I like to think of the one thing that we used to spend a whole chapter on when I taught biology, and that was homeostasis. Do you all remember what homeostasis is? Homeostasis is that balance that occurs, for example, in the body, that makes sure that your blood is the right consistency, that it's the right pH, that your blood sugar is about the right blood sugar that it's supposed to be, that your temperature is within a normal range, pretty much 98.6, right? That's what they're looking for. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but a very, very narrow range. And so all of the things that doctors measure in the body, they're doing blood panels, they're doing cholesterol panels, and all of the things that they want to know that they can measure, they are able to measure, and they were able to compare it to what they know is a normal, balanced body, and will offer some diagnosis, treatment, and so forth based on that information that they receive, because the body is so in tune with being balanced. Homeostasis is a very important natural balance. However, sometimes the temperature goes up. You get a fever. And this is the body's way of bringing back into balance for a very good reason. Usually, fever is a result of some kind of invasion of bacteria or virus. Fever is a reaction to foreign invaders. Fever is a good thing. Fever is created by the body to bring the body back into balance, because when the temperature is higher, viruses and bacteria can't survive. And yet when people experience fever, what's the first thing they want to do? They want to take a medicine to lower the fever. All right, that has some value too, because a fever that's too high can be dangerous. A fever that lasts a long time may feel very uncomfortable. In fact, fevers are not comfortable. When you get too hot, you kind of ache. You don't feel good, right? But it's the body's way of getting you back into balance. It is a natural balance feature that we have for our physical bodies. Pain. Pain can be a very interesting stimulus for balance, because if you're experiencing pain from, let's just say, a workout, okay, you know that you're having pain in your muscles because of a buildup of lactic acid, for example. Of course, there are many reasons for pain. We're not talking about the injury here, but it could be an injury that is causing pain. When people are in pain, they will eventually begin to heal. If they do all the things they're supposed to do to get out of pain. They're going to relax their muscles. They're going to eat better and drink plenty of water and do all the things that help a body to heal. And as a result, those muscles that were exercised a little bit too much would become stronger. There would be growth and ultimately healing. So pain is one of those imbalances that we experience that can actually stimulate us to become more balanced. Grief also, an emotional balance. We like to see that people would heal from grief. There are many people who hold on to their grief for a long time, and grief could go into despair, a deeper grief. However, people can heal from grief. So there may be an imbalance for a while with a person who is feeling grief. Eventually, healing can be allowed to happen. So there is a natural balance that tries to exist as long as we allow it. Is any of this making sense here? Natural balances, physical and emotional. Now let's talk a little bit about environmental and biological balances, because that's where my mind likes to go. Earthquakes. Nobody wants an earthquake, right? But an earthquake is the Earth's way of releasing tension, because the tension builds up, and then boom, it releases. It comes out looking like an earthquake. And earthquake helps to relieve that tension that the Earth's crust is having. Tides. Tides, of course, are a natural balance as the Earth is moving and the moon is pulling. Its gravitational pull is pulling on the water of the Earth. It's creating tides. And so there's an ebb and flow of the tide that creates balance. And the creatures of the Earth respond to the tides. When the tide is out, the intercoastal organisms, the sea anemones and starfish and mussels and clams and all the barnacles, they all shut down for a little while they're not covered with water. They have protective mechanisms in place that help them to survive that time when they are without water. And yet it is also a necessary part of their survival to be like that. So the water comes in and it goes out, and of course when the water comes in, it's bringing all these nutrients back. Yay! So it's creating a balance even though there is a lack. There's a lack and then there's an abundance, and that together the lack and the abundance create balance. Weathering. Weathering is the phenomenon of wind and water wearing away at the surface of the Earth. Mountains get transformed into flat, smooth, not sharp. They smooth out. And this can create a balance for the Earth because it is always changing. The weathering that happens with the exposed mountains creates sand and silt that becomes soil. Soil allows the plants to grow. So there is a natural balance in there for the environment. Seasons create balance with a fluctuation between temperatures and amount of light, for example. And because we have winter and hardening that happens, we can have beautiful tulips and daffodils. We can have blossoms on the tree, which is what we're experiencing now. We can have animals coming back into our vicinity who migrate. So the seasons create balance as well. Now, some of these things in nature that create a balance, we're not real happy about. When we talk about extinction, for example, Nobody wants animals or plants to become extinct. And yet, at the same time extinction is happening, there is still a creation of new species. We're getting new insects, new plants, new animals evolving. It's hard for us to see as humans in this lifetime the expansive creation of new species because it's happening behind the scenes, and it's happening very, very slowly over hundreds of years. So yes, extinction happens a little faster than we like. We know that there are many species that are endangered of becoming extinct, and yet Earth has found a way to create balance by the creation of new species. Pollution, radiation, we don't like these either. We don't like the man-made interference of the natural order of things. And yet, we see that there is adaptation that is happening. There are animals, there are plants that will absorb pollution and absorb radiation and transform it. We are grateful for that, but that's something that we don't see very much unless we're really looking for it. But there are animals and plants that are dealing with this. Sunflowers. I was really surprised to learn this years ago. Sunflowers are planted in areas where there's a lot of lead in the soil because sunflowers absorb lead. So it can pull lead out of the soil. There are bacteria that are absorbing radiation. I'm very grateful for that because of all the radiation that is coming out of Fukushima. There are bacteria that process mercury and other pollutants. So adaptation does happen, and it does create a natural balance for us. Now, what about a spiritual balance? This is, after all, the healer's journey that we're talking about. How about the spiritual balance that leads us along our path to be healers? Well, if you are open, then you can increase your awareness. And in your awareness and your openness, you can evolve, you can grow. You can experience new things that you hadn't thought of before. If there is lack, and this is a tough one for a lot of people, the concept of lack and abundance. People often get hung up on the idea of abundance equals lots of money. Abundance isn't lots of money. Abundance is a lot of something. And lack is not much of something. So people often go to the idea of money. So let's just talk about money. If there is a lack and you would like to have a balance of money, then you would like to have an abundance of money. But having an abundance of money doesn't necessarily bring balance. A person who is in lack or a person who is in abundance doesn't necessarily see the other side of the coin, doesn't necessarily know that there's a different kind of experience to have. So a person who has lived through lack and all of a sudden, or very gradually, whichever way, moves toward abundance, can realize that there is more. And there is a different feeling. There is a contrast here. And we're looking at, actually, the contrast. Because contrast can grow into gratitude. If people have something and then they don't have it anymore, they have lack, they can experience gratitude for what they had. Or maybe gratitude for what they don't have anymore. Maybe abundance isn't money. Maybe abundance is pain and grief, too much of something, remember? An abundance is too much of something. Well, maybe you don't want that kind of abundance. And so The contrast between lack and abundance can lead to gratitude. So that is a spiritual balance, gratitude. Same with imprisonment, and I don't necessarily mean that you're locked up in a jail. People can be locked up in their own personal jails, feeling like they are trapped, feeling like they are stuck, feeling like they have limitations, and the balance of that is freedom. If you're stuck, if you're unaware, if you're in the dark, if you are feeling oppressed, depressed, suppressed in some way, feeling pressure, then the opposite of that, or the balance of that, would be enlightenment. If you are enlightened, then you realize there really isn't any stuckness, because those who are enlightened, those who step along their path on the healer's journey, are filled with light and wisdom and knowing, and realize that there is no lack. That's where we're trying to go here, folks. That's really the thing we want, is spiritual enlightenment. And then all of the other stuff falls away. Finally, karma. We'll spend more time talking about karma another time. But karma is that signature, the soul signature that we come into this world with. We carry it with us. We carry a signature of perhaps attracting a certain kind of relationship in our life, or a feeling about snakes or spiders, or it could be a way we like to live in the world, and beliefs that we have. This can have an energetic signature that comes through as karma, and we're born with it. We hold on to it. But the balance for karma is release. Releasing those beliefs, releasing limitations, releasing signatures in our soul DNA that aren't serving us anymore. And when we have release, then there is a balance that allows us to grow spiritually. So there are all kinds of natural balances. We've talked about physical balances, emotional balances, spiritual, as well as environmental and biological balances. So now you have a pretty good idea of balance and imbalance. Now let's talk about your journey as a healer, your journey. Because everybody is experiencing, you are experiencing, I'm experiencing imbalances all the time. And as I said at the beginning, I like imbalances. I really do. If I were balanced all the time, then, okay, would I be happy? Yeah, I'd probably be happy. I'd be comfortable. I'd be, completely fine in every way. I'd be healthy. I'd be rich. I'd be, whatever it is that I perceive as balance. But I like imbalance. I really do. I like it because I know that there is a bigger picture out there for me to explore. And I would love for you to choose imbalance once in a while as your choice for your journey as a healer. I'm not saying, dive into it and feel depressed and feel the grief and feel the pain. I'm not saying go there. Don't do that. But make some choices that will allow you to grow. Make some choices that will be new and different. Make some choices that will expand how you are in this world. Because after all, it is your journey, and these are all your choices on this free will planet. Have a willingness to be. When I was feeling off balance because of that free time I had, I had to experience a willingness to be. Remember, I said I wasn't trying to fill up my time. I didn't get busy again. God knows I have a lot to be busy about. But I took the time to just be. and it was amazing to just be. When we have a willingness to be, we can grow, we can do, we can expand. And that is an amazing part of the journey of being a healer. You can make a decision to learn. Now this may seem obvious to you, to make a decision to learn, because we are learning all the time. Every experience we have, every moment we have, we're learning something. We're really smart species if we allow ourselves to be. But making a decision to learn is a little bit different. It means that you are actually on a search to find something that resonates with your vibration that will allow you to step more into who you are. So making a decision to learn something could be a new language. It could be artistic. It could be driving for people who don't drive. It could be taking a new class that will allow you to learn something. I love learning. I love making the decision to learn, so I am always seeking things that will help me learn. And that's part of the journey, learning. Having an openness to your intuition is also part of the journey as a healer, because we talked about this a lot. We like being intuitive, right? As a healer, we think it's really cool to be intuitive, to be psychic, and to develop those gifts that we have. We all have. If you're open to your intuition, then you can become more aware of it, and you can fine-tune those skills that help you develop your intuition. Intuition is teachable. It is learnable. And so being open to it is part of the step of becoming a healer. It's in your journey. Self-care. One of the most important things that we can do for ourselves is self-care. It is also one of the most important things we can do for others, to take care of ourselves, because it has to start with us. It has to start with you. When you are better, everybody around you is better. They can feel it. They can see it. They would know it. And they would know if you were not taking care of yourself. It would show up in your emotional field. It would show up in your aura. It would show up in your language and thoughts. It would show up in how you dress and how you eat. So all of these things about self-care may be obvious, but fine-tune it. Get better at it. You will discover that if you devote more time to self-care, things will fall away that you have been holding on to. I'm going to leave you with that thought there, that things will fall away that you were holding on to, that you thought you needed for your self-care. That's going to change. I guarantee it. And it's an amazing part of your journey as a healer. I would love to explore that more with you if that's something that you want to talk to me about. And we will be spending some time on that if you want to email me or give me a call. I'll just mention now Reiki. You know that I'm Reiki Master. My daughter and I teach classes together. This is a very intelligent form of energy. When we say intelligent energy, that means that this energy knows where it needs to go. It is used by a practitioner like myself, where the practitioner is only and I say only in the nicest possible way, a facilitator for the energy to flow. And I'll tell you a little story that goes with this. I was on the phone recently doing a session for I'll just say a session for a person who has a sick animal. And she's not of abundant financial means, I'll just say. And she wants to help her dog. So in the course of the discussion, she did hire me to do a session. So I was doing a session for her, and the dog steps in and starts talking about what he wanted his mom to do for energy healing. And without going into all the details of why or how, he instructed me to tell her and give her instructions of how she could heal him with energy. She's not attuned to Reiki. She's a little bit familiar with what Reiki is, but she's very much in tune with her dog's energy, and she would love for him to continue to be here, and he is willing to do that. But he provided instructions. And so I channeled that energy. When you come to Reiki class, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But pretty amazing what that dog had me do for his mom so that she could offer energy healing to him. Reiki is something that helps create a flow of energy for balance. And it is easy, it is intuitive, and it is accessible. It is accessible by everybody. Most people, when they are hugging somebody or trying to offer some healing touch, healing hands, they are putting so much of their own energy into it, they can feel depleted. They can feel off balance. So there is a way to offer Reiki, there's a way to offer energy healing without depleting your own energy. And so this is what our Reiki class is all about. And it may be something that you, if you are listening, want to learn more about Reiki classes. I encourage you to add that to your toolkit. Our Illumination Reiki program is live. That's what we put all of our energy into a week or so ago. We're very excited about it. People who are attuned to Reiki already, Usui Reiki, can take the Illumination Reiki program. If you have more questions about that, you can go to illuminationreiki.com or you can email me, give me a call. I'd be happy to chat with you about that. We have Usui Tibetan Reiki classes. We offer advanced levels of Reiki training and hope to have a Reiki master class at the end of April. The Illumination Reiki program is a proprietary class that incorporates and integrates many healing modalities. It's very exciting. We're really happy to be offering that to you. And then our Sensory Intuition Apprentice program has also been launched, and we're very excited about that because we get to show you how to do what we do beyond Reiki, growing your intuition, growing your practice. It is all for personal growth and professional practice. And I emphasize, highly emphasize, personal growth. That's really what the healer's journey is all about. So I ask you, as I always do, where will your path lead you? I am excited and honored to be a part of your journey and would love to know more about your personal story. The best way to reach me is through my website, secondnaturehealing.com. You can also visit illuminationreiki.com, and you can email me, Rosemary, at secondnaturehealing.com. I would love to hear from you. And of course, if you are not already registered for the Healer's Journey webinar, just go to that tab on my website, secondnaturehealing.com/webinar.html. And thank you so much for being here. I have enjoyed having you participate. And for those of you who are listening in on YouTube or through my website, I want you to know that people who are on the live version of the webinar presentation have the chance to talk to me before and after the webinar. So everybody's able to ask questions and have some input as to what's going on in their life, get some feedback, share some stories. So I would love to have you join us live sometime. Thank you once again. This is Rosemary signing off for tonight.